a new microphone. And to test out the new microphone, we will be continuing the bedtime stories. Today I will tell you Peter Rabbit by Beatrix Potter. Once upon a time, there were 4 little rabbits. Their names were Flopsy, Flopsy, Cottontail, and Peter. They lived with their mother in a sandbank underneath the root of a very big fir tree. Now, my dears, said old Mrs. Rabbit, one morning, you may go into the fields or down the lane, but don't go into Mr. McGregor's garden. Your father had an accident there. He was put into a pie by Mrs. McGregor. Now, run along. Don't get into trouble. I'm going out. Then, old Mrs. Rabbit took a basket and her umbrella to the baker's. She bought a loaf of brown bread and 5 currant buns. Flopsy, Mopsy, and Cottontail, who were good little bunnies, went down the lane to gather blackberries. But Peter, who was very naughty, ran straight to Mr. McGregor's garden and squeezed under the gate. First, he ate some lettuce, then some French beans, and then he ate radishes. Then, after feeling rather sick, he took down some parsley, put it round the end of a cucumber frame. Who should he meet but Mr. McGregor? Mr. McGregor was on his hands and knees planting young cabbages, but he jumped up and ran after Peter, waving a rake and shouting thief. Peter was most dreadfully frightened. He rushed over the garden, for he had forgotten his way back to the gate. Lost one of his shoes among the cabbages, the other among the potatoes. After losing them, he ran on 4 legs and went faster. I think he might have gotten all the way together if he had not unfortunately run into a gooseberry net. Got caught with large buttons on his jacket. It was a blue jacket with brass buttons, quite new. Peter gave himself up for lost. The big shed tear. His sobs were overheard by some friendly sparrows. Flew to him in great excitement and implored him to exert himself. Mr. McGregor came up the step, which he had intended to plop upon Peter, but Peter wiggled his way out just in time, leaving his jacket behind. He rushed into the tool shed and jumped into a can. It would have been a beautiful thing to hide in if it had not had so much water in it. Mr. McGregor was quite sure Peter was somewhere in the tool shed, perhaps hidden underneath the flower pot. Began to turn carefully, looking under each. Presently, Peter sneezed. Itch! Mr. McGregor was after him in no time. He tried to put his foot upon Peter, who jumped out of a window, upsetting 3 plants. The window was too small for Mr. McGregor, and he tried running after Peter. So he went back to his work. Peter sat down to rest. He was out of breath and trembling with fright. He had not had the least idea which way to go. It was also still very damp from sitting in that water can. After a time, he began to wander about, going lippity, not very fast. Looking all around, he found a door in a wall. It was locked. There was no room for a fat little rabbit to squeeze underneath. An old mouse was running around in and out of the doorstep, carrying peas and beans to her family in the woods. Peter asked her the way to the gate, but she had such a large bean in her mouth she couldn't answer him. She only shook at him. Peter began to cry. He tried to find his way straight across the garden, and became more and more puzzled. Presently, he began to ponder where Mr. McGregor filled his water cans. A white cat was staring at some goldfish. She sat very, very still. But now and then the tip of her tail would twitch as if it were still alive. Peter thought it best to go away without speaking to her. He had heard about cats scuttered underneath the bushes, but presently, as nothing happened, he came out, climbed upon a wheelbarrow, and peeped over. The first thing he saw was Mr. McGregor hoeing the onions. His back was turned toward Peter, and just beyond him was the gate. Peter got down very quickly off the wheelbarrow and started running as fast as he could go, along a straight walk behind some black currant bushes. Mr. McGregor caught sight of him in the corner. Peter did not care. He slipped underneath the gate and was safe at last in the woods outside the garden. Mr. McGregor had hung up the little jacket and shoes as a scarecrow to frighten the blackbirds. Peter had never stopped running, looked behind him till he got home to the big fir tree. He was so tired that he flopped down upon the nice, soft sand on the floor of the rabbit hole and shut his eyes. His mother was busy cooking. She wondered what he had done with his clothes. It was the second little jacket and pair of shoes that Peter had lost. I am sorry to say that Peter was not very well during the evening. His mother put him to bed, made him some chamomile tea. She gave a dose of it to Peter, one spoonful to be taken at bedtime. But Flopsy, Mopsy, and Cottontail had bread and milk and blackberries for dinner. The end.